ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter number 9, entitled The Passing Away of Bhishmadev. And today we are discussing on the text 25. Suta Uvacha Yudhishthirastad Akarnya Shayanam Sarapanjare Aprichat Vividhan Dharman Rishinam Chanusrinvatam. Suta Uvacha Yudhishthirastad Akarnya Shayanam Sharapanjare Aprichat Vividhan Dharman Rishinam Chanusrinvatam. Suta Uvacha Yudhishthirastad Akarnya Shayanam Sharapanjare Aprichat Vividhan Dharman Rishinam Chanusrinvatam. Suta Uvacha Yudhishthirastad Akarnya Shayanam Sharapanjare Rishinam Chanusrinvatam. Yudhishthirastad Akarnya शयानं शरपञ्जरे अपृच्छद्विविधान् सूत उवाच शयानं शरपञ्जरे अपृच्छद्विविधान् धर्मान् ऋषीणां चानुशृण्वतां माताजी सूत उवाच युधिष्ठिरस्तद् आकर्ण्य शयानां शरपञ्जरे अपृच्छद्विविधान् धर्मान् ऋषीणां चानुशृण्वताम् सूत उवाच युधिष्ठिरस्तद् आकर्ण्य शराणां शरपञ्जरे अपृच्छद्विविधान् धर्मान् ऋषीणां चानुशृण्वताम् word to word meanings. Suta uvacha. Shri Sukdev Goswami said, Yudhishthiraha, King Yudhishthir, Tat, that, Akarnya, hearing, Shayanam, laying down, Sharapanjare, on the bed of arrows, Aprichat, asked, Vividhan, multifarious, Dharman, duties, Rishinam, of the rishis, Cha, and Anushanvatam, hearing after. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Sud Goswami said, Maharaj Yudhishthir, after hearing Bhishmadev speak in that appealing tone, asked him, in presence of all great rishis, about the essential principles of various religious duties. Purport. Bhishmadev, speaking in that appealing tone, convinced Maharaj Yudhishthir that he was very soon passing away. And Maharaj Yudhishthir was inspired by Lord Shri Krishna to ask him of the principles of religion. Lord Shri Krishna inspired Maharaj Yudhishthir to ask Bhishmadev in the presence of many great sages, indicating thereby that the Lord's devotee, like Bhishmadev, although apparently living as a worldly man, is far superior to many great sages, even Vyasdev. Another point is that Bhishmadev at that time was not only lying on the deathbed of arrows, but was greatly aggrieved because of that state. One should not have asked him any question at that time. But Lord Shri Krishna wanted to prove that his pure devotees are always sound in body and mind by dint of spiritual enlightenment, and thus in any circumstances a devotee of the Lord is in perfect order to speak of the right way of life. Yudhishthir also preferred to solve his problematic questions by asking Bhishmadev rather than ask anyone else present there who was seemingly more learned than Bhishmadev. This is all due to arrangement of great will carrier Lord Shri Krishna, who establishes the glories of his devotees. The father likes to see the son become more famous than himself. Lord declares very emphatically that worship of his devotees is more valuable than the worship of Lord himself. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश नमा ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरद्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्। Hare Krishna. So seeking all Vaishnavas' blessing to speak something on this verse. And today is very auspicious day of Bhishma Ashtami. So it is such a auspicious coincidence that today is the appearance day of Bhishma Day, and the very verse is Prabhupada especially glorifying about Bhishma Dev, and we are on the same chapter of all the 12 cantos, the chapter which is glorifying Bhishma Dev. So I am fortunate to speak on this. So seeking all Vaishnavas' blessings, I can speak on this verse in parampara for the glorification of the Lord and for my own purification. Hare Krishna. So especially today's verse is after Bhishma Dev desired to see the form and leave his body. He had a Ichha Mrityu. So that what yesterday's verse was. Today, Sud Goswami is especially glorifying about that in that state now Bhishma Dev is going to speak to Yudhishthir Maharaj. And especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, because Yudhishthir Maharaj had no other option to ask for. So he had to ask only for Bhishma Dev. So even though he was not supposed to ask, but there was no option for Yudhishthir. Means no one could have given such instructions. So that's what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in that purport. So especially today we'll try to discuss on three very important points Prabhupada gives in the purport. First one, Prabhupada says, a devotee like Bhishma Dev, although apparently living as worldly man, is far superior to many great sages, even Vyasadeva. So we'll try to see how why devotees are superior than all other, even the great sages. Then second, Srila Prabhupada says that his pure devotees are always sound in body and mind by the dint of spiritual enlightenment. And in any circumstances, devotee of Lord is thus in perfect order to speak of the right way of life. So we'll see on that. And finally, we'll see what is that which makes Krishna glorify his devotee so much, that he is giving so much special attention. So that we'll try to see. So especially in the translation, it is said that Yudhishthir Maharaj understood now Bhishma Dev is going to leave. And especially it is because of the word comes, what is that? In appealing tone. So we see in this world also that when person is about to leave body, the response comes, I would have done much more. And even devotees also say, I would have done much more. But the reference is completely different. So reference for the worldly people is that they say, I would have done much more to accumulate something in this material world. And devotee says, I could have done much more to serve in the moment of Srila Prabhupada. So the reference is different. And people in general, actually, who is religious, you will see they will beg forgiveness, they will repent, they will ask for the people. And devotees, when they get such situations, what do? They make the practice of remembering Krishna even more intense. And out of humility also they will say, I have not done enough. And we see many examples. Especially there was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada whose name was that time Hayagriva Swami. So he was very powerfully, he had done he is the first one to meet Srila Prabhupada. And somehow because of some circumstances he could not later be in the moment. But later again, when he got cancer, he again came back. And that time he was saying to Radhanath Maharaj says, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he says that he asked me and he was saying why Krishna has done like this. And Maharaj saying, why is asking? Then he said, why Krishna is doing like this? He said, what happened? Why Krishna is so personally giving attention to me like this? And I can tell you there is nothing more than Krishna consciousness. And later he became so intense and he left the body. So we see that both ask the same questions, but the reference is completely different. And especially when Krishna is glorifying the devotees, like we have many examples, Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, you will see their intensity at the time of especially leaving the body. It becomes all the more concentrated. Like Madhavendra Puri, we had Srila Haridas Thakur also. So, and especially Srila Prabhupada showed by his example. And it is the same, Bhishma Deva on the bed of arrows and Srila Prabhupada, I have seen that last, the video, Srila Prabhupada living body. It so much matches with the Bhishma Deva on the bed of arrows and Srila Prabhupada on the bed. But both are in blissful state. And both are so intense in remembering Krishna and pleasing Krishna. So that's what especially connects to last point where Srila Prabhupada says that they are sound in the body and mind, even in any circumstances. So, especially when Krishna is saying they are far superior to many great sages, even Vasudev. So why is that? So two things. First is the category of devotee is very rare. And second, in that rarity, they show the sincere commitment to serve Krishna in all circumstances. And that's what makes the devotee superior. So we'll first try to see how the devotee category is very rare. So one time I was hearing the class of Revtipati Prabhu. He was saying sometimes when we are in the devotee circle, we say there are enough devotees. Because every time we see devotees with dhoti kurta, tilak, bead bag, हमको लगता है बहुत devotees है. But we say just zoom out the Pune. Go to take a aerial view and just see even not a single point you can put where the crowd of devotees is there. So especially in the section which is very wonderful where Srila Rup Goswami is instructed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he tells the whole thing that how devotee category is very rare. So we'll just try to see this, very wonderful. So especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts with, there are two categories of living entity. One is Thavar and one is Jangam. So again and again, I like this section especially. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Tara madhya Thavara Jangam dui bheda. Jangame tiryaka jala stalachara vibheda. That means there are two. One is Thavara, that means trees, and one is moving, that is birds, aquatic animals. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Tara madhya manushya jati ati alpatar. Tara madhya mlecha pulinda bauddha shabar. Although living entities known as human beings are very small in quantity, that division may be still further subdivided, for there are many alcultured human beings like Mlechat, Pulindas, Bauddhas and Shabaras. So first one is moving and non-moving. Okay, so non-moving you just filter out, and then there is moving only. In the moving, it is said there are birds, animals, aquatics, in that human. So you filter out, what remains is human beings. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the human beings, there is again category. What is that? There are cultured and uncultured. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes ahead. Again he says, वेदनिष्ठ मध्ये अर्धेक वेद मुख्य माने, वेद निषिद्ध पाप करे, धर्म नाही गाणे. Okay, there are some cultured people, but in that also, among human beings, those who follow Vedic principles are considered civilized. And those who don't follow, they are uncivilized. And then in that again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, now what remains is following the Vedas. In that again, he makes the category. He says, Dharmachari madhye bahuta karmanishta, koti karmanishta madhye eka jnanishreshtha. Okay, in that also, most of will be karmanishta, the karma kandis. And in that, out of koti, 1 crore koti, karmanishta madhye eka jnanishreshtha, there will be one jnani. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, koti jnani madhye hai eka jana mukta. So out of crores of such jnanis, one person will become liberated. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, koti mukta madhye durlabha eka Krishna bhakta. So that is how so much filtration has happened. So first thing is, devotee category is very rare. And in that devotee category, those who make a sincere commitment to serve Krishna in all the circumstances is all the more rare. So that's what makes especially the pure devotee so dear to Krishna. And that's why here he is being glorified. So generally we see when you give something to some people, you expect always good. Like first thing, you give some words to some people. Someone may say, you meet in the book distribution and they will say, okay, kya Bhagavad Gita kya rehta hai, kaise? Yes, and you will talk to him and you will say, yeah, like this, you should follow. And then he will ask some question, how to go ahead. And suppose next day he again meets. And he says, yes, मैं कल से अभी हर रोज करूँगा, at least पढ़ूँगा, book तो लूँगा. And next day you get, and you meet him with great enthusiasm. You think, अरे कल मैंने I gave some words, he must be very inspired. And he comes, and then you meet him, अरे yesterday we had met, he said, yeah, I forgot only. And then you ask, so कुछ आपने किया कल, हमने कुछ डिस्कस किया, हमने डिस्कस किया था. And then it hurts all the more. He doesn't remember what we discussed. Then what to say of following. So when you give words, you expect something. Yes, because you have given some energy of yours. Second, when you give time, you expect all the more. You spend hours giving and guiding and counseling, and you see next day same situation. So you feel all the more hurt. Yes. Now when you give money, yes, as Prahlad Maharaj says, money is sweeter than honey. It is almost to praner arther dhiya vacha. It is very close to prana, the life. Yes. When you give money, you expect a lot. And generally you will see in the buses and trains, they will pay and they will say, अरे what is this, AC काम नहीं कर रहा है, हमने खास AC के लिए बस लिया, आपका ये नहीं कर रहा. Yes, because when you pay, you expect a lot. Now, when you give life, then that is the highest you can expect, always favorable situation. But in the lives of devotee, you will see all these have people given life. And Krishna is now going to put obstacles. And how does devotee respond? That's what makes him great. And that's what we will try to see today. That how that all these people, like especially we are also trying, that we are trying to give life to Krishna. So we have seen everything, all categories, and especially when you are giving life, you always expect there should be always favorable situations. Yes. But when Krishna puts the obstacle, and how does devotee respond, that's what makes them great. And that's why Krishna, Srila Prabhupada makes this statement that they are far superior to even the great sages, like even Vyasdev, Srila Prabhupada says. So Kulashekar, especially in his prayer number 5 in the Mukundmala, he says, नाष्टा धर्मे न वस्तु निचये नैव कामोपभोगे यद्भाव्यं तद्भवतु भगवन् पूर्वकर्मानुरूपम् एतत् प्रार्थ्यं मम बहुमतं जन्म जन्मान्तरेऽपि त्वत्पादाम्बोरुहयुगगता निश्चला भक्तिरस्तु. So he says, O my Lord, I have no attachment for religiosity or for accumulating wealth or for enjoying sense gratification. Let these come as they inevitably must, in according to my past deeds. But I do pray for this most cherished boon, birth after birth, let me render unflinching devotional service unto your two lotus feet. So we see from the very desire you will understand that, okay, I have given life, no expectation in return. Now you do whatever you want. And especially we see from the lives of Devaki and Vasudev that the every child is taking birth and he was sent to be killed. And especially when Krishna comes, and it is joyful because they just waited for this moment. And now Krishna is saying, now please take me to Vrindavan. So it is such a situation, but they were never ungrateful in that situations. So we see Pandavas also, Bhishma, they also said that verse, Aho kashtam aho anyayam yadyuyam dar. So that it is only by the will. And how does the Pandavas respond? That's what made them great. And Srila Prabhupada writes, Pandavas are typical pure devotees. So why? Because it is very difficult, especially when you are put into the situations of difficulties, and how does devotee responds. So it is said that when conditioned souls comes into this world, there is a this false ego which is very big. And Krishna says, Prakrite kriya manani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma karta hamiti mannete. And especially when you want to give this false ego to someone, in someone's means you are ready to sacrifice, and that's what makes these devotees very great. So this we see from the lives of Brajavasis, that they have so much attachment to Krishna without any reservation. Especially when Krishna is coming into Gokul Mahavan and there are so many obstacles. And then Nanda Maharaj and all they decide that let's move to Vrindavan. And no one, not even a single resident got a thought, नहीं नहीं हम इधर ही रहते अपना है कि नहीं अभी घर बांधा है अभी ये किया है कि नहीं इतना हमने we are settled now here, it is very nice. So no one, everyone immediately packed and they were ready to move. Yes, so never thought came that, ठीक है जाने दो Krishna, will come in the next month, you go first. So all were so much with the desire to please Krishna. And that's what even I was hearing Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says, every speck and the dust is trying to please Krishna in Vrindavan. So the biggest task in the whole creation that I was saying, to become a servant. So to become a servant is the biggest task in the world. And especially when you make the other's goal and you work very hard for that, it is all the more difficult. To work for one's soul goal, it is so difficult. Like we are trying that sometimes students will come and they will say, नहीं पढ़ाई नहीं हो रहा है. अरे तुम्हारा ही गोल है, तुम at least endeavor करो. तो खुद के गोल के लिए endeavor नहीं, but when you make others goal and you work hard for that, it is very rare. And that's what these are pure devotees. And that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, why they are so dear. Because they are striving for my goal. They are striving to give what I desire. And that's what, so we see, and that's what, especially when Ramanacharya, that when he was sitting and he said, in Tirupati, we want someone to go there and worship the Lord. And especially make a garden and offer everyday flower to Krishna, their Balaji. So then I was hearing from Radhesham bro. So he was then, Ramanacharya asked, so who would like to go? So Radhesham bro, sab apna इधर उधर देखने लगे, सब नीचे मुंह डाले. So everyone, नहीं नहीं गुरुजी ने मेरे पास नहीं देखना चाहिए. So everyone was thinking, नहीं 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 थोड़ा इधर उधर देखने लगे. But Anantacharya immediately lifted the hand. He said, I will go. And Ramacharya became so happy. And he said, then he went there, and we know the whole pastime how he goes on. So we see, especially to make someone's goal and you strive, you work hard for that, it is very rare, especially in this world, because everyone has their own agenda and everyone wants to achieve something. But you put aside whole your agenda and you work for someone, and especially whom you may not be experiencing all the time. So you just hear their words and you work hard for that. It is all the more difficult compared to when you get some reciprocation every time. So that's why in Vrindavan, Hare Krishna. So, especially we'll see in Vrindavan there are two things. There are reversals and there are frustrations all the time. Frustration in the sense it is all the time changing situations. But you will see that every time they become all the more Krishna conscious. Whenever there are obstacles or whenever there are uh, any reversals coming. Why? Because that anxiety makes them all the more blissful to serve Krishna. So especially everyone, even like cows and calves, they are serving Krishna. And even the gopis, they are saying, Govardhan, you are all the more great. You are the greatest of servant. Yes. Hantaya madri rabala haridasa varyo yadrama krishna charana sparasha pramoda manam tanoti sahago ganayostayoryat Paniya Suya Vasakandara Kandamule. He said, you are the Haridaswari, you are the greatest of servant. So everyone in Vrindavan, you will see there is a appreciation for each other's commitment to always serve Krishna in all the situations. So that's what in Vrindavan is. And Srila Prabhupada especially, you will see from his life, it is such a powerful commitment to serve Krishna in all the times. Srila Prabhupada especially, he told to disciples, I can't write my books properly because you are scoring, giving me headache. Now, Srila Prabhupada's problem was not of course, it was there, devotee quarreling, but he was more concerned about giving pleasure to Krishna because that's what Krishna has sent me here. So, I am not able to render my service properly and that's what giving me headache. So, that's what we see from the lives of devotees. And especially whenever there are anxieties and reversals, actually this is Yog Maya because you will see from the result. It is not Vrajvasis are sitting down after some time, some chapter comes, they decide, Abhi chhod do, hey Krishna bahut ho gaye. So no, they are always discussing how to serve Krishna. So that's what we understand, even the anxiety, and that's what the more Srila Prabhupada says that if one is Krishna conscious, even an 75 to 80 years old devotee can act like 18 years old person. And who is example? He himself. So that is the power of being Krishna conscious, to be connected to Krishna. And especially the body, mind and words. These are so much required while we are committing in remembering Krishna. So especially those who are non-devotees, for them body, mind and words, they are not connected to Krishna at all. Yes. For the devotees, with the body they engage. How? They go to temple, they sit, hear Krishna Katha. With the mind, they always think about Krishna. How to reach to different peoples, how to celebrate the festivals, how to serve the Vaishnavas. And with the words, they call and glorify, speaking pure Krishna Katha and personally relishing the holy name. Now for Krishna, pure devotee conquers the Lord's body, mind and soul. So how Krishna's body is conquered? So Krishna gives his body himself to devotees. The whole Damodar Leela is, the Yashoda Maya is binding the Krishna. Then Sakshi Gopal, the devotee is carrying the Krishna to another place. Jagannath, whole Rath Yatra festival, you see Jagannath is fully intoxicated. He is fully into hands of devotees. You do whatever you want to do. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially when he wanted to start for South India Yatra, and all the not South India Yatra, every time all the devotees from Bengal, they used to come to Jagannath Puri. And especially one time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called all the devotees. And he said, Deha matra dhana tomai kailu samarpan tahana vikai yahan vechite tomar man. I have only this body and therefore I surrender unto you. Now, if you wish, you may sell it whenever you like. It is your property. So, Krishna makes his body the devotee's property. And how with the words, Krishna always glorifies the devotees. You will see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is glorifying Sanatana Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorifying Haridas Thakur as if thousands of mouth. And with the minds, Krishna always thinks of devotees. So Krishna says in the Amrish Maharaj section, Sadhavo Hridayam Mayyam Sadhunam Hridayandvaham Madanyatena janati naham tebhyo manamagapi. So that I cannot forget them and neither they can forget me. Yes. So Prithu Maharaj devotion also, what happened? By seeing the Prithu Maharaj devotion, Lord could not maintain his balance. Yes. So that's how body, mind and word of Krishna, they are always with the devotees. So this is how what makes especially devotees superior is two things we saw. First is rarity and second thing is commitment. Second, Srila Prabhupada says, even such pure devotees are always in sound in body and mind by their dint of spiritual enlightenment. And we see from the so many devotees, especially I was very shocked. I was getting these messages about Jayapataka Swami Maharaj health reports. And one report, I will just read it, that how powerful it is that, so I'll just read the report as it is. So report was, earlier today, the ophthalmologist came to see Guru Maharaj. She was very curious about Krishna conscious and was asking the devotee doctor questions about spiritual life. When she was examining Guru Maharaj, she said she saw an aura around Guru Maharaj. She was deeply struck with the experience and Guru Maharaj asked some questions. And then this physiotherapist came. He wanted to do especially chest physio and with the legs. And physiotherapist, Maharaj said, Guru Maharaj told physiotherapist to chant every time the tapping is done with the chest. Physiotherapist happily compiled. When Guru Maharaj was asked if he was feeling pain during the tapping, he said, if there is no chanting, he feels the pain. The physiotherapist smiled and chanted again. Then Guru Maharaj had to do limb physiotherapy. He had to lift his both the legs. And he was told to lift his leg with all his strength. Guru Maharaj said that if the therapist is chanting, Guru Maharaj will get more strength. The therapist agreed and made another condition that if Guru Maharaj didn't lift his legs, then they would not chant. Guru Maharaj said he would definitely lift both the legs. And next day, Guru Maharaj's voice recovered. And that evening, Guru Maharaj suddenly woke up and asked, what is the time? And servants, they said, we told him it was 4 p.m. Guru Maharaj said, I have a GBC meeting at 5. I want to attend that, make arrangements. Guru Maharaj remembered about the meeting, the date, the time, in spite of all the sedation he received in the last few days. He woke up just before the scheduled time. And now the next is all the more shocking. It was so shocking, he was just able to speak again, and moreover, he wasn't even breathing on his own yet. But that didn't stop Guru Maharaj from discussing more. And then he said, on one side, the nurse was giving medicine through nose, IV injection in the neck, and there was a drain collecting from the blood from the abdomen after the surgery. And Guru Maharaj was attending the meeting, keeping the phone next to his right ear. So we can just see, this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that they are always sound in their body and mind, whatever situation. So we can just imagine this kind of commitment devotee shows, then why they will not be so much dear to Krishna. So after understanding all such greatness, what I am supposed to do? So everyone is potentially pure devotees. It is not only about great souls. Actually each and everyone, and especially Srila Prabhupada writes, Bhajan korlen, sadhan korlen, marate janle hoy. So you will understand the greatness of devotees, especially when he is about to leave. Then that time it will be very late to respond our thoughts. So better always remember, everyone is potentially pure devotee and having such capacity. And they are rendering. Because I was hearing there are two vectors. A plus B, resultant vector is R. So everyone knows this vector. So what is A? A is the endeavors. B is the conditionings. And R is the resultant. So Krishna always see the A vector, the endeavors. And generally, because we are not able to see A vector, we get to see B and R. And that's what we calculate and we make offenses. But Krishna never gives attention to neither conditioning, neither the resultant. He always sees the A part, what is the endeavor. And that's what Krishna says, Ye athamam prapadyanti. So that's how I was thinking that I should never offend and criticize devotee, find fault, rather deal with the respect. Because Krishna is seeing A vector, then I should always be focusing on A. And that's how, even for me, I'll become dear to Krishna. Now, how do we get such spiritual enlightenment? One thing, by taking the serious responsibility in the life. And especially, we see even the Brajavasis are doing the same thing. They are cooking, they are honoring Prasad, they are serving, they are mopping, they are brooming, they are building, they are doing everything. And we are also doing the same. So motion is the same, but emotion is different. So there is different of E, motion and emotion. So what is the E? That E missing is E for exclusivity, exclusive love for Krishna. And that we can slowly build by having the commitment. And what does commitment means? Commitment means three things. I am going to keep going till I achieve the goal. Example, Mother Yashoda. Till the time I don't bind Krishna, I am not going to give up my project. So this commitment we can take that, and we need not, of course it's for me, I can take some commitment where in terms of my sadhana, in terms of my service. Especially whenever I go to Mayapur, and you will see 4:30 Kaunshal, that devotee, old devotee. He will come out, he will blow the Kaunshal. And I am seeing this from the initial days of Krishna consciousness. Childhood in Krishna consciousness. So 2010, what a commitment. Every time I go, he is there. And even I heard one time he was having fever. He took bath, he did Mangalarti and came back again, took rest. So when we see such commitment that I am going to keep going till I achieve the goal. Second, commitment means willingness to face the challenges, whatever it may come. So in the execution of going ahead, there will be challenges. But generally we see in this world, when the challenges comes, many will give up. Like His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj is saying, the opportunity knocks the door. And most of the people complain about sound. Who is knocking the door? Opportunity. And then people say, Kone bahar jao. But so willing to face the challenges, whatever it may come. That is commitment. And third thing, I continue long enough in my efforts. Why? Because Krishna shows the way when we have such attitude. So this is the three things I was thinking to implement. We can think over on that. So this is what especially, and commitment means we can take to practical. And father likes to see the son become more famous than himself. And Srila Prabhupada says, the devotees can do greater things than the Lord by the mercy of the Lord. So, and examples are many. We see that Sanatan Goswami, Srila Haridas Thakur. So he is making the Haridas Thakur as Namacharya. Yes. So that's what especially this last line, which can very important. So commitment in terms of sadhana, services, the dealings, and even it can start with like sadachar, everything. So I was just thinking for myself, and what Krishna sees is, as we discuss, is the A factor, A vector, the endeavors, commitment. So I'll just stop here. It's 7:30. So please forgive. So what we discuss is today that how the response of outside people and the devotees is same. I would have done much more, but reference is different. Then we saw what makes the devotees superior is the rarity, and second is sincere commitment. And we saw some example, and then we saw how body, mind, word for non-devotees, devotees and Krishna. So Krishna's body, mind and word are with devotees. And then we saw this example that of His Holiness Jayapataka Goswami Maharaj, that he is always sound in the body and mind, pure devotees, by the dint of their spiritual enlightenment. And then we saw how can we do this by having this serious responsibility, commitment. So thank you very much. I spoke much more bigger things, but I as always say this Bhagavatam class given by Ashay Gopal Baru makes me go deeper in my practice. So whatever is there is for me. So seeking sincere prayers and blessings so that I can follow at least some words of this. So thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nithai Gaur Premanande Hari Bo.